You guys are great. Thanks. Cool. So the framework for the call today, we'll just get going now. I know a couple other people were on who show up, but this is all being recorded. So yeah, one, this is being recorded. So this will be used as the onboarding document, or rather call, for helping people get to understand the DAO, what the purpose is, and how to engage with it. So I'll introduce the concepts of why a DAO. We can go over the overview of the DAO, how it works and how to engage with it. And then we can ask any questions and do some follow-up after that. Sound pretty good?
Sounds cool. Good.
So it's been said that the next wave of enlightenment won't come from individuals, but a group of people coming together with a deep and committed, purposeful vision. In some Asian cultures, the DAO is the way to enlightenment. So I find it extremely fitting that the DAO is the tool that we've created to facilitate groups of people across the globe to come together and collaborate towards a shared vision. So I think that we're living through the modern Renaissance, where we're also at the peak of ecological, political, economic, and social crises. And these aren't only crises, these are an opportunity, inviting us to create new systems. And we'll need to do this with impeccable integrity and dedication to this new paradigm. Otherwise, we might end up recreating the old systems and recreating the systems of exploitation and domination that these tools are meant to move us beyond. So as we're engaging with this new system, that's something to keep in mind. Today, with our work environment, we're taught to show up, punch the ticket, appease the boss, and generally do what we're told. In the DAO, there are no bosses. You are accountable to your roles and other team members, but most of all, you're accountable to your purpose, to your passion, to your personal growth, and to your gifts. That is what this tool is meant to help facilitate, is people coming together and sharing their gifts. So that is where the true accountability comes into play. And it's your responsibility to identify what your gifts are, create a role that best empowers you to share those gifts, and then contribute to this creation of a new paradigm. No one can tell you how to do this, what your gifts are, how you'd like to receive value. It's your gifts, and that's up for you to decide. So it is up to the other members whether or not to receive these gifts and whether or not they want to play with you, but ultimately it's not up to them to tell you how to give. So this may be a little bit awkward at first. Again, in our culture, we're taught to show up and get told what to do. But in this culture, it's more about self-empowerment and freedom. And this freedom comes with the responsibility for us to be able to better identify how we want to show up. We don't get to just show up and get told what to do anymore. So what we make of this DAO structure, what anyone watches this makes of this DAO structure, is entirely up to you. And success here with this DAO, with seeds, with this whole paradigm shift as well, success here isn't just making money. Success is changing money. Changing how and what we value in a society. So there's enormous value to be made, yes. But true success is really a thriving planet with a purpose-driven economy where people are deeply and truly nourished. So we're at the dawn of welcoming these new systems. We're building them now in Hypha DAO. It's a live experiment. So it's not going to be perfect at first. It's meant to evolve. And that's something that we're doing together. So thanks for showing up, guys. So
Great.
a couple, thanks. So something to, just some refreshers. The DAO is for Hypha. The DAO isn't for seeds. So the notion here is we can't build seeds as a decentralized financial system if the team behind it was centralized. So that's why we felt it was necessary early on to completely decentralize our organization structure that was building and launching seeds. So Hypha will do many more things when seeds is launched. Seeds is just the first thing we're doing. So Hypha will maintain itself and move on to launch things on top of seeds, launch other decentralized organizations, and a whole host of whatever other things we identify that we want to do as a collective. So the governance that's taking place in Hypha is for Hypha. It's not for seeds. Seeds governance will take place through seeds own DAOs and DACs and DASs and all that. So just ensuring that we understand that distinction. And what we're doing when we're creating roles and setting value for those roles, it's not like we're pulling value from an endless bank account. What we're doing is we're deriving value relative to other people's value. This is really just how we're splitting the pie. So if I'm asking for 10 and someone else is asking for 10, another person's asking for 10, it means that we're all on the equal playing field for our role if we're all asking for 10. But if someone's asking for 15, someone's asking for 7, another person's asking for 10, that's an unequal footing. And that may be all right if those roles have different complexities and different skill sets, etc. But just know that when you're setting your value for your role, that this is a value relative to all the other people within the DAO. So that's actually what's going on here. Does that part make sense? Maybe I can just get a thumbs up if we're tracking. Awesome, cool. Great, so with all that being said, is there any questions on any of that I've said so far? Anyone else want to make a statement before we move on to showing off this bad boy? Good boy. No? Cool, then we're just gonna dive in. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and show you what this thing looks like. I noticed Igor just hopped on. So Igor has been doing some seriously beautiful, incredible work putting this DAO together. So huge props to him. So everything you're seeing here today as far as the front end was all built by him. So yeah, everyone give a shout out to Igor if you want. Cool, so here is DAO.hypha.earth. So we have a nice intro, welcoming. And when you come on board, you can come right down here to create account and type in account name, 12 symbols, A through Z, lowercase, 1 through 5. So whatever you want to do. I already have an account, so I'm not going to make it another. It's going to generate keys. Make sure you save both of those keys somewhere safe. And this is an actual account on the Telos mainnet. So this isn't test accounts. They're not dummies accounts. This is live. You're creating an actual account. Do not lose your private keys. And then when you have your account, you can come over here to log in and go ahead and log in. And then when it does, your account will pop up. This information, we'll have it editable here soon, but in the meantime, send what you want to be displayed here, a face with your name and a little blurb about yourself to Igor. So he'll get that and he'll plug it in for you, but very soon we'll be able to edit it. So this panel here is your dashboard. So this is where most of the interaction that you're going to need to do to communicate with the DAO can take place. But we have these other tabs, so I'll walk you through them. So members is where all the people are. So this shows all the other members of the DAO, what they're doing, a little description about themselves. You can click on it. It'll tell them a little bit more if you want to know more, etc. Over here, it shows what roles they're playing and what percentage of that role they're playing. So it shows that Igor is 100% as a blockchain developer. V is maybe 25% as an influencer, but he'll have other roles that he'll be playing as well. So you'll see them stack up over here. You know, James, etc. So this is where you can get a quick snapshot of what people are doing, how much of a role they're filling. Then you can go over to the roles. So in Holacracy, and why we have this big distinction is there's a really favorite phrase of mine is the role is not the soul. So in a lot of organizations, that's not true, where some people tend to embody a certain role and we tend to think of them as that role. But in here, we have a very clear distinction. We have members where they could be playing multiple roles, and we have roles that could be getting played by multiple members. So how Hypha is set up is it has roles that then are delineated to be able to serve the purposes of Hypha as an organization. So you can come over here, you can see all the different roles that are currently up. And if any of them speaks to you, you're like, yes, that is a role for me. You can just click apply for role and get going. If you don't see any role that is right for you, that's where you come over to your dashboard and you can propose a new role. So here you can type in a role name, say like, I'm just gonna type in a whole bunch of tests. You type in a description for that. So what you're putting here is the purpose. So my purpose is to test. You put in some accountabilities. So I will test right now. I will test once a day, etc. So you put in the accountabilities that you're saying you're going to perform that's going to determine whether or not you're going to get paid. So this is you structuring your role. And then finally, you have a domain. So if this particular role has an area that it needs to manage and have full accountability over, that's where you'll detail it here. So let's imagine you're, say, your website development. So your role will be website development. It'll be update the website, add relevant information. My purpose is to build the most beautiful website in the world that really empowers people to understand and learn about seeds. And then your domain would be the website. So this domain's helpful for anyone coming into this organization to know who to talk to about a certain area. So if they want to add information to the website, they know they need to come over to the website guy because the website is his domain. Does that make sense? Awesome. And then what we're doing is we're describing a salary for that role. So there's prompts underneath it that help you figure those out. But what we've done so far is finding fair market value for a similar role for that, and then adjusting from that point of view to whatever you feel fit. So if you just need a baseline to go off of, type in fair market value for a similar role, and that helps give you a baseline. And then if it's a monthly or yearly, whatever that salary is, put it into 14-day chunks, because that's actually how we're getting paid, is in half lunar cycles. So if it's a full-time position with that, divide it by 26, and that's going to give you what 14-day chunks are. So then here's the pre-seed salary. So right now, in order to get this number, you're going to take the Hypha salary you just determined, multiply it by our multiplier, which currently is 1.9, and then times it by 0.02, which is how many cents per seed. Sorry, it would be divided by 0.02. Either way, that'll get the number that is how many pre-seeds are being distributed to you. And then Hypha voice salary is the same as the Hypha salary. And what these three things are is Hypha is essentially equity in the Hypha LLC in New Zealand. This will also be an equity-like token where you have a share of the profits that Hypha is generating based on how many Hypha you're holding. This is the pre-seeds. These are going to be the first seeds of seeds. And here is Hypha voice, which the more voice you have, the higher influence you have in Hypha governance. So when you're voting on things, it's weighted based on how many Hypha or voice tokens that you are holding. And that will be equal to the salary you're proposing. Any questions on that section and proposing a role?
It doesn't, my understanding is the voice influence voting power token, it doesn't have to match the Hypha token, but just in general, we think they will. Is that correct?
Right. So the prompt is usually equal. So that's the general prompting. Okay. But yeah, it doesn't have to. And there's some roles that, and I can show those, like the advisor role and the influencer role and stuff, will have a lot more of a voice salary that's more proportional to them because they're compensation based. So either way, it doesn't have to be the same. It's just that's the point.
Okay.
Cool.
I've also got a question just regarding the accounts on the Telos mainnet. Does the create button, the create account button, does that create a new account on the Telos mainnet in situ, or do you still have to use Squirrel to create an account and then import it?
Nope. So that is creating the account on the Telos mainnet. We've now built the Hypha DAO that everything's happening here. You don't need to use Squirrel or anything else. You can do it all from this domain.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So, So now, yes, you're also creating an account on the Telos mainnet, which means you have an account to access all the other stuff going on Telos. And this is the same account you can use to get into the Seeds Passport as well. So this is your account, make it right. Perfect. Okay, so every new and full moon, every 14 days, you can come in here and claim your salary for your role. So this is just claiming salary. Take your assignment and your pay period, and then you can claim it. If you aren't filling a role or there's some other contribution that you want to give to the Hypha DAO, you can request a one-time payment or request a contribution. So put in the notes whatever it is you're being paid for. Say, you know, I just ran a workshop for seeds. It was awesome. And this workshop might have cost you X number of dollars. Let's say you want to be compensated for that. So you're going to put your compensation into here. You can have a full invoice, and we recommend it. And in which case, link the URL to that invoice here, and then go ahead and request payout. So all of these and all the actions taking place here are proposals. So you're not actually being able to do it because they'll come over here to this proposal section. And this is where all the other members of the DAO are going to vote on people's proposals to determine whether or not they're going to go through. So one of the proposals I just put up, the test, it says, my purpose is to test. I will test right now, my domain. So I can click on this and I could say, I'm actually going to decline that because I feel like he's going to need to test also every day. So I don't like this testing once. I think he needs to update that. So you can go ahead and decline it. But ideally, we're also having a discussion about these roles. So that's where the Telegram and the Slack comes in, is that people aren't just showing up here, throwing up whatever proposal they might like. Otherwise, it's likely going to get declined. This is something we're going to walk through, have a discussion about, have an open conversation, determine what would be a good fit for people, and then they'll propose it here. And then this is just the framework where we're solidifying it and making it happen. Yeah, so in short, I mean, that's it. So we'll have the roles, what everyone's doing. We'll have the entire membership of Hypha and who's building it out. You've got your dashboard. So really, once we get going, you can essentially manage everything from this point. It'll tell you all the things that are happening here, and you'll be able to vote straight from your dashboard if you want on the most recent proposals. And it's very straightforward. Any questions on this? Yeah, Stefan.
Yeah, so I was just thinking, just to solidify that as a small walkthrough. I see under roles that the ambassador role hasn't been set up yet. So if I was going to do that, in my understanding, I would create my account. I would propose the new role, and based on what we've already agreed to and what's in the Google Docs that we've been sharing between us, and then the role would be approved, and then I would assign myself to some amount for my region.
Correct. So for some roles, like the ambassador role, the advisor role, publisher, these roles that are going to have multiple people fully filling them, then we'll have multiple of these roles and multiple people on it at 100%. So yep, ambassador is not up yet. So yeah, that's exactly it. Come in here, create your account, propose that role.
Reiki, can you walk us through or me through the voting process again on the approval process, and actually maybe clarify, is it the members of Hypha that are voting? And if so, how do you plan to keep that diverse in their voting power?
Sure. So the voting power comes from those Hypha voice tokens that people are earning through filling roles or doing contributions. So in this sense, the more of a role that you filled and the longer you filled it, the more contributions you've given to Hypha, the larger your voice is. Already there's about 12 people who are going to have a pretty significant voice in Hypha. So it's pretty distributed at this point to get going. And anyone else can come in here, fill a role, really start taking a serious role into Hypha and earning a serious voice with that. And then on the proposal side, when you vote up or no, you vote decline or accept, the weighting of that vote is determined on how many voice tokens you hold. So one person's account who owns a significant amount of voice tokens because they've been around since the beginning, playing several roles, it's gonna have a whole lot more of a voice than someone who's come in here and made a one-time contribution and is voting. Does that make sense?
Yes, I just had you on mute.
Yep, no problem. And in the future, we're going to add a slider for a percentage to make it even more nuanced, where you could say, yes, you filled that role, but you filled it from either 80% to 120%. So we can give a little bit of feedback direct. But at the moment, it's very binary, yay or nay. And that doesn't mean you're completely rejecting them. It could just be, you know what, we tried talking about this. This description isn't what we had all discussed as a group. I don't feel that's right, decline it. And then that's just feedback for them to come back and restructure their role and try again. So it's not necessarily we're rejecting people. It's just that we're saying that one's not complete. And it's not that we're saying, it's just that you're saying that. And you might decline something, but everyone else goes ahead and accepts it, and then it goes through anyway. So this is really just how you're presenting your point of view in the voting process.
Are you sorry, are you saying that ticking the box allows to vote? Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
How
so
do you vote? Just by ticking them?
Yeah, you tick all the boxes, and actually we're going to be able to group them. That's something coming very shortly. So you click all the ones you want to either vote yay or nay on, click them all, and then click accept or decline whatever you're trying to say. So I want to accept this one, you click on it and accept. And you want to decline this one, you click on it and you click decline. And then it's just broadcasting all the votes as you come across. Okay, so what you got here was this error, and it's saying ballot voting window not open, and that's because this proposal is actually closed. So they have a window in which we can vote on them, and that window for all the proposals are 2 weeks. And that's why we've set it at full moon and new moon. So if you're coming in here every full moon and new moon, then you're going to come in with every 2 week window, and you'll be able to vote on all of the proposals. So the idea is to find out whatever cycle works for you, that you're coming here at least once every 2 weeks. And that's when you're going to be able to vote on everything and make sure your voice is being counted on every round of proposals and claiming your salary and doing all that. And if you miss the voting window, then you're not able to vote on it. And if you attempt to, it's just going to give you this error saying you can't.
I have another question.
Go for it.
So yeah, there's these various roles, and someone comes in and signs up for or applies for a certain performance of a certain role. How are we going to provide some form of how would I say it, like fluidity between the roles? So say I'm here, I'm fulfilling the ambassador role, but I see this ecosystem facilitator role. It sounds very interesting. I feel like I want to dip my toes into that and try and help out a bit. I say I want to do 5 or 10% or something. But where will I be able to understand more about what the people are doing who are already fulfilling that role and speak to them, so I can get an idea of whether it's a good idea for me to try and contribute in that way?
Yeah, so communication's taking place in Slack. So the links to the Slack and the Telegram are both here. We're gonna have another workplace that we bring up here to facilitate communication. But if someone's coming up and they're seeing a role, let's go down, you see that there's this influencer role and it's only 25% filled. So you know that there's a gap there where you can better fill it. So what would be a very strong strategy is then reach out to this person and talk to them. Be like, hey, is there a need for me to be able to fill this role more? What would that look like? And you could talk to them directly about how they're filling it and what that process is going on. Also, I'll be filling a role or a part of a role. This is also open for other people to fill. That's like core ecosystem clarity. And this is that role that's designed to understand how all the other roles relate to each other, what's going on. It's kind of like HR in a way. So this is just having my pulse on the finger, or finger on the pulse of what's going on in Hypha, who's playing what roles, how they relate to each other, what roles need to be filled, do we need to create any new roles, and kind of understanding those nuances. So when new people are coming on, they're able to talk to the person filling that role and be able to get sorted to where they're best suited, and either tailor and design a role for themselves. So there is going to be that ability to be able to gain an insight into what's happening here. And the idea is to decentralize that as well. So I won't be filling fully in that role. And as other people come in here, get a real good handle and grip on things they're going, then they could fill a part of that role too and start helping other people on board, etc.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And then how the application for a role goes is you come into here, you click what role you're filling, a link to your CV, your LinkedIn, whatever you think is most relevant for filling that role that you want people to know. Tell them why you're going to be great at that role, why people should vote for you into that role, etc. The time period that you're starting. So it might be that you've started that role a week ago and you're just now getting around to applying for it. You can say, okay, I started that last week. And then you're putting in your time shares. So this is 100% being full-time, straight 40 hours a week, and 50% being half-time, 20 hours a week. So this is how much of your time do you think you're going to be giving to this role, and how much of the role are you intending to fill? So if someone has 200% roles and they're saying they're giving 80 hours a week, that might be true, but they really have to sit there and justify how they're spending 80 hours a week filling these two roles, So yeah, that's the standard process. Come in here, you propose new roles or apply for roles, request payments, and claim your salary. So this is essentially all there is to do here. Does that make sense for everyone? Do we all feel like we're super confident we can come in here and make this happen? Or what barriers to that confidence are we all holding on to still?
I would say just one comment
regarding the,
okay, let's go Max first.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, just a comment to make sure that when you're given the keys, when you create an account, you're given the key, that you store that in a safe place or multiple safe places, because if you lose it, there's not a way to reset your password with an email address or anything like that. It's if it's lost, it's gone. So just make sure that I actually save mine in sort of a password keeper that's encrypted, and then I also keep a printed out version somewhere safe, and that's how you'll access not just your governance duties through the DAO, but also the tokens. So yeah, just be extra careful making sure you save that. That's it.
There is definitely make sure you're keeping it safe, but there is a little bit of recourse right now. If you do lose your password, you do lose access to those tokens, but we can, through the board of the DAO, make an executive call to move tokens around. That does require a certain threshold of approval from all the people who are voted into that board, which is something actually I'll bring up just next. So we will be able to set you up another account and move those tokens to that account. But we don't want to do that, and we certainly aren't wanting to do that very often. So please keep your password safe. Cool. And so let me just touch on that real quick, and then we can go, Alex. So what's going to happen is once we get this going, we'll have the first election, and then members will be proposing themselves for the board. And what this is we need some people who, through collective effort, are able to make executive calls like the one that I just said. So it might say that we want 5 people, and we need 3 out of 5 of them working together to be able to make these calls. And you guys, as all the members of the DAO, will vote on what 5 people those are going to be to fill that role. Does that all make sense? Yeah, great. So we're going to have that election once everyone's in and fluid, then we're going to go through that process and set up the board. What I really like about this level of governance within the DAO and with seeds is that these board members are more of a service provider. They don't have ultimate authority. It's not like the President of the United States that's able to just make executive decisions on their own. What this is it's a role that you have to collaborate with all the other role members in order to get something done. But if you go ahead and you make an executive call or you attempt to on your own without the other's approval, one, it's not going to work. But let's say you did get 3 people to collude against the best interests of everyone else, then those 3 people are risking losing their job, which in seeds will be paid and Hypha it won't, but they risk losing their job, their salary, to collude against their own network, which is supporting them. So it's definitely not in their best interests. So all we've done is reduce their power to just essentially do what the people are telling them to do. And that's it. If that makes sense. Okay, so that will happen after we go live. And Alex, what do you got?
Yeah, my question was about the job, the role application. Is it an ongoing application? I.e., we don't have to renew it every fortnight, or do we need to renew this application every fortnight?
You won't have to type and renew it, but it is actually going to come up to vote every fortnight, 2 weeks. Is that what that is?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, every fortnight it is going to come back up to proposal. So that is giving feedback for all the other members to continue to click yes or no on the roles that they feel like are actually being filled. So
will it appear automatically every 2 weeks?
Yeah, so the roles that people are filling will come up here automatically into the proposal process. So on your dashboard, if you're coming in every 2 weeks, you're going to fill all the roles that are coming up. This is in the past, so it's saying it's been accepted. But you'll see all the new ones that you can vote on. So you just vote on all the roles that you think people are still filling. But if you found out it's like, oh, wait, that guy hasn't been filling that role for a couple of weeks now, decline. So this is our feedback to be able to make sure we're removing people from roles that aren't filling them anymore and rewarding people for the roles that they are filling. And that happens every 2 weeks. Right. And what this is it's back paying. It's not future paying. So there's not uncertainty. Sorry, it's future paying, not back paying. So this isn't uncertainty whether or not you're going to get paid for the work you've done. This is just saying that, am I going to carry on this role into the future? So if it's not proposed, if the role you put up isn't proposed, then just don't do the work for the next 2 weeks. Or check in with the DAO, say, why wasn't it fixed? Come up with a new proposal and get it fixed. But if you don't want to do any of that and it just wasn't passed, you can say, okay, well, I'm not going to do any work then. So it's not that you're not getting paid for work that you've done. It just means that the DAO isn't planning on paying you in the future.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, great. I know there's more questions out there. So what do we got? Fee, got any questions?
Oh, good. It makes sense.
Cool. Nicole?
I'm absorbing.
Okay. Cool. Max?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Makes a lot of sense. Looks great too. Great job, Igor.
Yeah, it looks great. Yeah.
Yeah, Igor, do you have any questions?
And thank you, Max. Thank you very much for this work.
Steph?
I'm all good.
Awesome. Alex?
All good too. Yeah.
Well, this is a really good sign, which means that our intention here was to make it easy enough for people to understand so that people could easily be onboarded, join this new decentralized world that's taking place, and help co-create a new financial system together. So it's really reassuring to hear that it is pretty straightforward and there's not, 100,000 questions on why this is the way it is. So that's really cool. I'm sure more will come up as we start playing with this and getting into it. So first steps, come in here, create your account. Second steps, continue collaborating with us on designing that proposal. And third step is proposing those new roles and getting them out there. And then we'll start voting on them. And I say we set a timeline. I'd like to go live with this, say 7 days from now, because that'll actually land us on the moon cycle. I think it's a full moon in 7 days. So let's have one more week to come in here, debug, test it out, get a good feel of it, and then I say we go live with this in a week. How does everyone feel about that?
Yeah, sounds good. I just realized I do have another question and a suggestion.
Perfect, shoot.
The question is, I haven't tried, but how does this platform perform on mobile devices?
Just like that.
I'm looking at them. Oh, okay, cool, perfect. Nice. So in other words, it works really well. Wow.
Yep, so this is again designed for a mobile, designed for website. Again,
Cool.
huge props to Igor, he did an amazing job on this.
Yeah, seriously. And then the suggestion was this alignment with the moon cycle. You know I'm a big fan of it, but I think it's something that obviously exists in our environment, in the world around us, yet it feels strangely dissociated from the thing you're doing on your screen. So I know it might sound a bit gimmicky, but I was thinking it might be pretty cool to integrate something where there is a little moon phase indicator for relative to people's location in the world. Does it shift much? Doesn't shift much at all, does it? But yeah, just a little moon phase indicator, so people know. Oh, okay, cool. What I can either be looking at what the moon's doing on my computer, or I can look outside at the night sky, and then a week later it'll be different. We'll be like, oh flip, I better go and check in on the Hypha DAO.
Yeah, I do like that idea. It's kind of like a timer letting you know when to come to it, when it's empty or when it's full, Yeah, I mean, that'd be kind of nice to just have up here, a little moon phase indicator. That's cool. Yeah, we'll talk to Igor about bringing that in. What do you think, Igor? Moon phase indicator? You're on mute. Well, he's muted, but he's nodding and smiling, so I think he's for it. What do you have, V?
Yeah, I was going to say I'm happy to help with that too. Something I've always wanted.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Well, I'm excited for this, guys. Let's get in here. Let's play around. Let's see where it needs to be improved, and let's make it happen. So again, sign up, create your account, send whatever information that you want displayed here and in the drop-down box to Igor, and then he'll hard code it all in. But otherwise, everything else is you can do yourself. Cool. So yeah, I guess we did a closing round, but we could do one more just because I like hearing from y'all, and then we can put this to an end. So if there's anything else you want to bring up right now related to this, any questions, any comments you want to make, just anything, this is your space for a second, and we'll do one more round, and that'll be it. Alex, I'll give you the floor.
No, I think this is brilliant. Well done, guys. It looks good and really simple to use. So yeah, I'm really excited to start working with the DAO and to see how we make decisions, etc., and we move forward. So yeah, really exciting times. It's good.
Heck yeah, Igor.
Thank you, everyone, and Max especially for smart contract. Very well done, and I'm happy to see it live. And there are not so many blockchain applications really working for real organizations. But, I'm excited to see live real people for real roles, real salaries, and real changes in the world. I'm happy to see it live. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Seriously, beautiful. Steph.
Yeah, I think it's more or less along the same lines. I'm really grateful to be collaborating with people who have a vision that is just so forward thinking and so positive, and not just talking about it but doing it. And it's very, very exciting, and I'm really, really motivated by the collective effort.
Yeah, same. And thank you all for showing up. I mean, this project has just kept attracting all of the really coolest people, and continues to just blow my mind how beautiful this comes together. So just thank you all for showing up, and so looking forward to seeing who else comes to this party. So, really cool. Max.
I love all the engagement. I'll second the comment about the moon cycles. I think maybe a countdown clock for that period up on the toolbar somewhere. I don't want to add scope to the project, but something like that would be kind of cool, because it doesn't end, on the the end of the week like most calendars. So that might be helpful. But yeah, that's it. It's great seeing everybody.
You too. V.
Hello. So I just want to say thank you for everybody who's put towards time and determination towards getting this vision towards the front door, it's ready to launch. So thank you guys. You guys rock. And yeah, we're here to do it together. Let's rock and roll.
Which reminds me, okay, so the first things we're doing isn't also just proposing those new roles, but requesting your contribution up until now. So this is really important. So everything you've done so far, request a one-time contribution. You'll likely have a URL. Please do, if you don't, make one, to the slide sheet that is just breaking down your contributions, whether that's time, capital, whatever else you put into it, a few notes about that, and then compensation for it, which is straightforward. Equity is US dollar value on parity. Precedes tokens. For the previous contributions, that multiplier is 2. So take whatever the Hypha equity is, times it by 2, and turn it into 2 cents. That's dividing it by 0.02. And then Hypha voice, actually don't put anything for this right now, because we're going to have to determine collectively how we're going to distribute that first voice. Because otherwise it might be really skewed to a few people who have put in a lot of contributions right now. So for voice, let's leave it 0, and we're going to have a discussion about how we're distributing the first voice on the platform. I mean, it might be a portion of this initial contributions or what have you. I'm not wanting that much voice either, so there it is. So that's the first step we're doing along with creating roles. Cool. Cool.
Really cool to see this live. I'm new to the Seeds organization, so just kind of catching up on all the documentation, and also learning so much in the past just couple of weeks. So really excited to dig in deeper and put my role up on the DAO. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Wow. You guys are awesome. That was perfect. We're 9 minutes short, which is great. I love these finishing early. And I look forward to talking to you guys all again soon. So in the meantime, though, could you all do me a favor?
Yes, we can.
could you all have a good day, night, evening, sleep, morning, all of the above.
I'm gonna sleep so well.
Awesome. Beautiful, guys. Look forward to seeing you guys playing with this. Send any questions
See
over to
you all.
Telegram. Awesome.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
See ya.